Hey everyone, it is Jerry Glenn with the New York Restaurant Show, and I have a very special guest today, Miss Melba Wilson, or Chef Melba Wilson, or Melba as she told me to call her. Thank you so much for being here today.
Jerry, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. I hear that Southern twang. It takes me right back to the Carolinas, which is where my family's from.
I love that. You know what? I love because I was going to say the soul food, and you are because I haven't tasted your food yet, but it's on my list. But American comfort, and so I can't wait to dive into just not just your background, but what inspires you, and then you have a lot of really smart things to share with folks that may be wanting to dip their toes in the industry. But you will be at the restaurant show, and we'll put the links and the times and the dates. You guys, you don't want to miss her demo on the 23rd through the 25th. And so let's jump into it. So that same old question, but we have to have it. What inspired you to become a chef? And take us back, to your roots, to where the journey and the falling in love with food all began.
Oh my God, that's such an amazing question. It's one of my favorite questions, actually. And being born, bred, and buttered in the village of Harlem,
Ooh.
which is where I'm from and where I still reside, and where my first restaurant opened up. Every summer, when school ended, Jerry, my mom, dad, brother, sister, and I would get into the car and we would go to spend the summers with our family, with my grandparents. And when we got down to South Carolina, my brother and sister, they would go play with our family, our cousins, me. I would go to my grandmother's garden where we would pick greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, you name it. But I love the fact that food was at the epicenter of everything that we did. Food was the common denominator. It's where I learned stories of my great grandmother, who I never had an opportunity to meet. But at every time we had a meal, when we sat around the dinner table, there were stories of Mambo. Never met her, but I
Mhm.
felt like I knew her because when we ate, it was a time to share stories of our history, stories of our culture. And these stories were told over and over again. But it was my grandmother who first taught me how to cook. And because I loved her so much, and I loved the fact that we can go in the garden and with our bare hands take out fruit, vegetables, and then go into the kitchen where it was bonding time for us, right? I stood on a stool and I would snap peas or I would, can tomatoes with her or preserves, make preserves with her. It was a bonding time for us. And those times are special. But that's where my love of using food as a vehicle to bring people together originally started.
I love that. I have to ask, what's your most memorable thing that I'm sure there was more than one that she would make? Do you have one dish that just takes you right back?
Oh, definitely. My grandmother made the best biscuits.
Mm.
OMG. And until my grandmother passed, whether I was flying to South Carolina, driving to South Carolina, or riding with someone going to South Carolina, I always had some foil or aluminum, as we called it, with some biscuits in it and some of my
Mm.
grandmother's homemade preserves.
Oh, I love that. Yes. My grandmother's, she made corn fritters. I don't know if that's, the little fried cornbread patties
Love them.
constantly in bacon grease.
Ooh, girl. Now,
Or,
I have to ask you, Jerry, did your
yeah,
grandmother keep that little silver pot on the stovetop that had all the
she did.
drippings
It
from
was cast iron, and I
yes,
actually have
yes.
one as well, but I don't have any. We do cook with drippings, but hers was a little cast iron, and it never seemed to go bad.
Never, never, never at all. And
She did.
it gave so much
Mm.
flavor to your vegetables or sauteing your Holy Trinity, whatever you were
Oh,
doing. It gave so much flavor to it. Yeah.
I know, and she would even put a little on a scrape or something. And I thought, I don't know what you're doing, but okay.
Those were
So
the days.
I love it. So I can almost smell the biscuits now. So I love that. So move us along a little forward because I mean you are rocking and rolling up there in New York right now. So that's where it started. And so take us a little further into opening because you have more than one location now. Congratulations on your newest. And I would love for you to talk about your cooking style. And I know that your roots and your grandmother influenced it, but if you would shed a little light on that for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, being born and raised in Harlem at the time that I was, it's a totally different Harlem than what you see today. And 114th Street in Harlem was one of the most drug-ridden blocks in my community, and I wanted to create change. I was on a flight, heard a flight attendant say, "In case of an emergency, put on your mask first," and looked at my life, Jerry, and I said, "What am I doing to change my community?" I used to save money up under my mattress every Friday
Mm.
when I got paid. Sometimes it was $5, sometimes it was 10, sometimes it was 2. I would put money under my mattress because that's what my grandmother did, that's what my mother did. So what did I do? I emulated them. Always wanted to be like them. And after hearing the flight attendant say that, I said, let me see how much money I have saved. And I had amassed a small fortune. And walking down 114th Street in Frederick Douglass, aka 8th Avenue, there was a for rent sign, called the number, and the rest is history. That's how Melba's was born. I wanted to provide jobs, but I also wanted to show people that you can come from what some may have considered the ghetto, what I considered the Mecca of Black culture. Be yourself and help change your community one person or one bite at a time. And that's what I sought to do in 2004.
Oh, wow. So over 20 years, congratulations.
Can't believe
That's
it.
it goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
I love that. So, I mean, I am super excited to not only to get there and try your food and also meet you in person. And then, 21 years, and then you just launched a second location in Grand Central Station. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that, and then tell us, is that one a little bit different than the original? And the style of food, is it the same?
Sure. So I actually signed my lease in 2004 and I opened in 2005. So it's 20 years. This year is my
20 years.
year anniversary. My first place, Melba's in Harlem, has been there 20 years. Melba's Catering has been 20 years. 3 years ago, I opened up a place in Central Park over the ice skating rink, Woman Rink. That's 3 years old. It's a QSR, quick service. A year and a half ago, I opened up a place in the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. That's a year and a half old. And Grand Central, which is my fifth business, fourth location, fifth business, I just opened a couple of weeks ago. And it's a QSR. It's a grab and go. There are over 750,000 people on average that go through Grand Central Terminal on any given day. So it's for the person that works in the neighborhood that wants to get something on their way into work or perhaps on their way heading home or for lunchtime. So that's the Grand Central Station location. It's right across from Shake Shack and right
Mm.
across from my very dear friend Bobby from Magnolia Bakery. Happy to be there. But these are all QSRs. So the only actual sit down location that I have is Melba's in Harlem on 114th Street.
I love that. And you know what? What a warming thing to be able to do to offer people real food, American comfort food, instead of just a quick something, prepackaged. So, I mean, that's great. That was super smart. So, folks, you will 100 of you will be getting a cookbook, which is her American Melba's American Comfort from my heart. Oh yes, please show it to your kitchen. I think I got that out correct. And thank you for that. And you guys, you be sure to register because there's obviously limited space. So with that being said, talk to us a little bit about how you decide, are your dishes seasonal, obviously, or and then maybe like, how did you decide what to include in your lovely cookbook?
Oh, well, my food is American comfort. I look at it as American comfort. It's food that's for everybody. But more importantly, it's food that transports you back to
Mm.
wonderful memories. You know, I know that I'll eat some sweet potato pie and I'm like, ooh, my Aunt makes the best sweet potato pie. I remember when I was 16 and running down to Hemingway or running up to Boston to visit her, and I could smell the pie before I even entered the house. Um,
Mhm.
but that's what food does, right? It takes us back. And that's what I'm hoping that we do at Melba's is that our food transports you back. Does the menu change, Jerry? My theory, if it ain't broke, don't fix
I
it.
love it.
For the most part, my menu's been the same for the last 20 years, but it's also what I do is, my grandmother used to say, Melby, God gave you two ears so you could speak, listen twice as much as you speak. So I listened to, I did a survey, listened to different people. What would you like to see at a American comfort food restaurant? What types of food? And that's how I came up with my menu. Is pretty much derived of my favorite things, but also, what our guests want on the menu. We do have specials from time to time. I think that's important to have some specials on the menu, to try different things, and also gives our team an opportunity to be creative as well.
I love that. So you said your special things. What are a few of your favorite things?
Oh well, my chicken and waffles that I beat
Yeah.
Bobby Clay
I
with.
was gonna say, yeah, you guys, let's see, Food Network. I had the note. You watch it. It was
Yeah, yeah.
she
I mean,
did.
Chicken and Waffles, like me, was born in Harlem. A gentleman by
Mm.
the name of Mr. Wells, who had a supper club. He would have a lot of jazz artists at his supper club, and most of them had missed dinner. And by the time they finished playing Jerry, it's morning time. So he came up with the idea of combining a sweet and savory dish. And that's
Right.
how he came up with chicken and waffles. So that is spectacular to me. It's one of my personal favorites because I put eggnog in it.
What?
It's better with eggnog. Everything
Mm.
better with eggnog. So, and it's also personal because it was born right here, just
Right.
as I was. So that's one of my favorite. My collard greens, OMG. You're getting a little bit of heat, a little bit of spice, everything nice, a little bit of tartness from the vinegar, and a little crunch, because you got to have some crunch in the greens.
Mhm.
And I season them with smoked turkey. Now, my grandmother, ham hocks all
Mhm. My God.
yeah. But for me, trying to keep it a little healthier, and you have a lot of people that don't eat pork. So
Right.
and I don't serve pork at Melba's. That doesn't mean I don't eat pork because I can throw down on some bacon, okay? And some pork shoulder. Love me some pork, but we don't serve it at the restaurant. So I love that. My macaroni and cheese.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Three cheeses. We have cheddar, cheddar, cheddar. Everything's better with cheddar, mozzarella, of course, and pepper jack. I like to get a little kick, a little bite. And when you eat my macaroni and cheese, there's going to be the famous cheese string that goes all the way up in the sky. It's creamy. It's
Making my order right now.
I got you. I got you, Jerry. I got you. It's creamy. It's delicious. It's cheesy. It's good. And ASAP yams. Am I saying everything on the menu? Pretty much. My ASAP yams are named after the legendary rapper who started the whole ASAP crew,
Mhm.
ASAP Rocky, ASAP Ferg. And Yams was born in Harlem.
Okay.
He had a birthmark on his face that looked like a yam. So I named my yams in honor of ASAP yams. You're going to get a little citrusy in there, a little nutmeg, some butter, because everything's better with butter. Uh,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get a little bit of orange zest, which is
Mm.
important for a candy yam, but not too sweet. I don't like my yams too sweet. And oxtail. Oh
Oh, yes.
my. The only thing when you come to Melba's, you've got to pick up the oxtails with your fingers.
Mhm.
My very dear friend, restaurateur Max Tucci from Delmonico's and Tucci, Max every week is up at Melba's or I'm delivering oxtails for him.
I love that. I can't wait to meet him. I love it. You know what? You're just naming all my favorite things, and I'm excited. And again, I really am going to make an order, or I'm going to make the time to get in there. I had a question that was at the end of my list, but I think it works now. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there at you. What are three things that whether it's ingredient, equipment, whatever, that every kitchen should have, and based on how you love things to be and like what you love to work with.
Oh, this sounds like Naked and Afraid, girl. What's the one thing you're gonna take on the show with you? What's the one thing you're taking to the jungle with you? That's hard, only 3.
I know it is. Maybe butter.
So, I gotta have my cast iron skillet.
Oh yeah.
I
That's
have to
just
have my cast iron skillet, okay? I love me a cast iron skillet. Anything that can go from tabletop to stovetop to the oven to the table, love it. And I also love working with like one pot dishes, like a perlo.
mm.
You know, I love cooking like that. So it would have to be my cast iron skillet. Then I would have to say, don't hate me for this, salt.
Oh no, I agree.
You gotta have some
Hmm.
salt.
Hmm.
You have to have some salt. And then, of course, everything's better with butter.
Butter.
Yeah,
I love those three.
you
I
gotta
mean,
have butter. And I love me some Irish butter. Give me
oh,
some
me
Irish
too.
butter any day.
Mhm. Oh,
Fat
I
cat.
love that.
Oh my God.
So cast iron, butter, and salt. I mean, really, you could cook anything.
That's right. That's what I say.
Perfect. Well, I love that. Yeah, so I knew probably butter was going to be in there. And I
Definitely.
forgot about the
Definitely.
cooking utensils. That would be important. Um, very, very smart. So, we were talking earlier before that we started recording about how everyone wants to be a chef or open a restaurant. And you had so many great points about how there's so much more, and there's more to think about than just putting on that apron and opening your sign and having your Instagram feed blow up. So talk a little bit about that, because I know that you have 20 plus years of experience, and I'm sure that you have a lot of great points that people may not realize.
Well, when I started in the industry, I actually started working for my Aunt Sylvia from the world famous Sylvia's
Mhm.
restaurant. That's going to celebrate 63 years in business this year. Very, very,
Congratulations.
very,
Hmm.
very proud of them. I'm proud of my cousins for keeping my aunt's
Yep,
legacy going on and the work that they do there. They're in their 4th generation right now. 4th generation
that's great.
yeah. So when I started there, I was front of the house. I was a cashier. You know, I worked in catering. My aunt made sure I was very well rounded. What didn't I do? You kind of did whatever needed to be done, especially when it's your family. You jump in there and you do it all. When I worked with Josefina Howard from Rosa Mexicano, started out in the kitchen. You need to know about the food. And it starts with the food, but there's so many more opportunities. From there, I went on to be a hostess and then a maitre d' and then
Mm.
a manager. So, God, I worked with Michael LaMonaco from the famed 21 Club. I worked with Chef at Windows on the World. And there I was front of the house, bringing in special events. So there's so many wonderful parts of this business. You can become a SOM, you can be a GM, you can be an accountant, you can work in AP, you can work in human resources. There's so many amazing opportunities that I always like for people to know. Don't just get caught up in one. I think that the more you expose yourself to the different parts of this industry, first of all, you become more valuable. You know, if you can work BOH and FOH, you're more in demand. But also it's about finding out what fits best for you and your lifestyle and your passion. Speaking to your passion. My son used to go to IMG, and IMG is the number one student athlete school in the world. And he went for basketball. And I look at his group of friends, hardly any, I think one of them plays professional. And they all went into different aspects of the industry, of the sporting industry. One of them is a trainer, one of them is a coach, one is an agent. So there's so many different um, arms to the food and beverage industry. You can own a vineyard if you want, but I
Mm,
always like for people to explore and to see what speaks to their passion, or you can become a chef.
I love that. I do love how bartenders are gaining more respect in recent years because it's a talent and not
Oh, yeah.
everyone has it.
I totally agree with you on that. And I think that part of being a bartender is being a psychiatrist, sort of like like your hairstylist, right?
I do agree with you on that, or at least
Good
pretending
listeners,
to listen.
right? Right, they're good listeners, right?
I love that. So we have talked about so much, and everything is just so exciting. And you did just recently open a new location, and so because I do stalk your Instagram, and you have all kinds of exciting things going on. Share a little bit. What do you have? Projects, collaborations, new
Oh my.
things?
Well, I love collabing with people. First of all, I do have a food product line coming out that I'm super excited about. Right now, I have a hot sauce and a barbecue sauce out.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's only sold out of the restaurant right now, but we're broadening that and very excited about that. Grand Central just opened up. That's my newest
Oh my gosh!
baby. It opened up a couple of weeks ago and I'm in love with her. Um, it's just an honor to be next to Shake Shack and right
Mhm.
across from my other good friend Bobby Lloyd from Magnolia Bakery, but also to be in the iconic Grand Central Terminal,
Mhm.
where over 750,000 people go through that space on a daily basis. But, you know, um, chicken is the number one protein. And so to represent my community, to represent Harlem, to show people that were told they couldn't, they wouldn't, and they shouldn't, to be an example, to show them that if I can, you can too. And that if I can, so can you. My story, Jerry, is a story of hope. It's a story of resilience. And it's a story of fortitude, not giving up and believing in you, regardless to what anyone says. I look at social media and I look at the world that we live in right now about having this opportunity um, to add some flavor, to add but also to share my culture and to share where I come from. And the beauty is that food is a vehicle that brings a diverse group of people together, and it doesn't discriminate. Food, Jerry, does not care what your ethnicity is, what your religion is, what your sexuality is. It doesn't care. It doesn't care what your financial status is. The only thing that it requires is that you sit down together and that you dine. And I love the fact that it's such a beautiful vehicle. And it's a great way to learn about different cultures.
I love that. Yes. And yes, ma'am, we all have to eat. And so we might as well do it with wonderful food and in good company.
I-
Um, so we have spoken about so much today and I love it. And everyone, I will put all of her tags to all of her locations and restaurants and socials. If someone wants to get a hold of you, is the best way through your website. Um,
Through the
okay.
website is
Okay.
perfect. Yeah,
Perfect.
that's fine.
And
Or on
again, you got
IG, Instagram is always good too.
okay, and they are on Instagram. So you will be there Tuesday, and I'll put the time in the caption for your demo. Do you want to talk a little bit about that or just surprise everyone when they get there?
We should surprise them. I don't think we have to tell everybody everything. We live in a
Absolutely.
world where everything is instant. I
Yeah,
love the element of a good surprise and
that's
just
right.
showing up and being prepared and being open to whatever the universe has for
That
us.
is right. I love it. Slow cooking and slow living. So before we conclude our lovely interview today, I have one quick little fun question that I've been asking folks, which take the time to interview with me, and I'm excited to see what you're going to say. So if you, Melba, were a cocktail or a beverage, which one would you be and why?
Oh, I like that. Well, since my name is Melba, I would probably do a peach cobbler Melba. That's probably what I would be. And that's what I would do.
Mm.
Fresh peaches, a little bit of raspberry sauce with some bread and butter to make a cobbler with a little crumble on top.
So that obviously really exists at your restaurant, and so you guys, a peach cobbler Melba.
It
That sounds.
actually doesn't, but I should make
Oh, sorry, it will now.
it will, it will, it will.
Ooh,
Yeah, I love making peach Melba, peach cobbler Melba at home for my family and friends, and it really should be
it
on the
should.
restaurant. I know,
I
but if
know.
I put one more thing on that
I
menu,
know, but a little bourbon in
and
it.
that's
Mm-hmm.
maybe tonight. You know what, Jerry? I'm gonna go hit the kitchen right now, girl. Bye.
See,
No.
this is where the magic happens for
It
Melba.
is. It is.
Oh my goodness, Melba. This was one of my favorite, you know what? It is my favorite interview. And so I appreciate you. You are so full of positive energy, soulfulness, as well as educational things for folks. And I look forward to being there and meeting you and taking pictures of you and sharing it all on the socials at the New York Restaurant Show. You guys, the 23rd to 25th in New York. And we're gonna say goodbye. Is there anything else that we should let folks know?
Yes. You know
Oh,
what, Bobby? I am gonna throw in with the cookbook a mini sweet potato pie, a 4-inch
mm,
pie.
mm. You may need to throw in
Well, you'll tell me, maybe
101.
it should go for people that don't get a cookbook or whatever, you decide, but I'm gonna make 100 of my mini sweet potato pies.
I love that. 100. There's gonna be one missing, so you only get 99.
You're so bad. You're so bad.
I love it. You guys register today because it's limited in a book and a cookbook and her, and I'll be there too. Thank you so much, Melba. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Bye
And I
bye.
appreciate you. Bye.